When the protests first started in June, I was watching the news in Taiwan, and all I could see was 韩国瑜 and 蔡英文, and I saw nothing about the protests for a long time.
尽管港府宣布撤回送中条例，但由于忽视了抗争民众的其他民主诉求，使得反送中示威持续延烧，至今已超过了100日。在与香港相隔仅1个小时航程的台湾，也有许多台湾人以及在台的港人发起了声援活动，认为这场运动的结果将牵动台湾未来的政治情势。那么，在台湾的外国人对于反送中又有多少了解呢？ Are you aware of the anti-extradition movement in Hong Kong?
Yes, I am. I'm from Hong Kong and I support the protests.
I'm a little bit nervous about what's going to happen at this point, since it seems like the government and the protesters couldn't possibly find a resolution.
Every country has been fighting for the freedom, like mine. I'm from Italy, so we did the same. Freedom isn't free, so I'm really proud of them.
And what are your thoughts on how the police and the government is responding to the people?
Both sides are saying, I'm right, you're wrong, and one side has an argument. Not a good argument to make.
I have some Hong Kong friends and they feel like they're not Chinese. If the people feel as though they're independent and they're governing themselves perfectly fine, I don't see why China needs to come in.
It's so scary that right now, like we're in 2019, like people are treating that way.
And they couldn't tell who was protesting and who wasn't. That was indiscriminately just beating people.
It's really terrible. I mean, the fact that someone's lost their eye and people are being beaten, and these are young students, like 16 to 18.
Obviously, kind of accord with the riots in Hong Kong. It's not fair to only talk about police brutality. I think it's government brutality.
The man at the airport who was Chinese, and people started thinking he was a government spy from China, and so they started beating him up, and he was like, they withheld treatment from him, the protesters. Right. Even if he still needs to get medical treatment.
I definitely understand the anger. However, right now I think the protests have gotten kind of out of control.
It could be handled better. I also think that the protesters are doing things to escalate things. You're not happy, but legally they are part of China with a special condition. If their goal was getting that law off the table, it's been removed. You know, let people get on with their lives.
I don't think there's any more peace warranted in Hong Kong. I mean, if I was a Hong Konger, I would be just as willing to fight violently if it's necessary. Yeah.
我觉得现在的时代确实是一个追求民主、可以勇敢的发声的时代。这个我们并没有任何说要有强权去压制它，但是我希望就是这样一个发声的形式可以不要太过的偏激化。
Would you say the Taiwanese people should really pay attention to what's going on?
Definitely. I think it's very important for the Taiwanese population to watch the situation in Hong Kong very closely. It's very, very, very relevant to them.
When the protests first started in June, I was watching the news in Taiwan, and all I could see was 韩国瑜 and 蔡英文, and I saw nothing about the protests for a long time.
Do you think there's any truth in the statement that says today's Hong Kong will be tomorrow's Taiwan?
To see China like go into Hong Kong, it's kind of like foreshadowing what's going to happen here, and that's really sad.
In a way, it really depends on how Taiwan's policies and politics will unfold over the next 20, 30 years, and how the mainland China aggression will go.
I feel like China might use Hong Kong to show Taiwan what's gonna happen if you as a nation gonna try to be a souvenir country.
I think today's Hong Kong is doing a very good job of preventing tomorrow's Taiwan. People are looking at it and they're saying, maybe not so much.
Have you personally been to China or Hong Kong before?
I have been to both China and Hong Kong.
And how would you compare the people based on your observation?
I think that the people in Hong Kong and the people in China are very genuine and nice people. I don't think it's the fault of the people in China that they have the government they have and they receive the information they do. So I think people shouldn't be too harsh on the Chinese themselves.
Is it part of ethnic China? Pretty much. It's mostly a Han country.
I think Taiwanese people question things more, whereas in China people question up to a point. And there's a way to question, but you can't question more.
Because they're not questioning.
It's dangerous.
think people in China still don't mind talking about the government as long as it's behind closed doors. They don't want to post it online. They don't want to talk about it in the open street, but they will talk about it. I've definitely talked with some Chinese people about the Hong Kong protests, and they don't agree with the Chinese government.
你是什么身份？你是大陆人，你是香港人，你是台湾人。其实我觉得我们大家都是一个共同体，就是我们都是同根同长的。
There's a lot more ideological diversity among Taiwanese people. That's one thing I would say. I've been surprised by how much even very educated mainland Chinese people tend to follow the party line.
中华人民共和国万岁！祖国统一万岁！
Taiwan is one day ruled by the Communist Party. Under the one country, two system policy, would you still want to remain in Taiwan?
And you think it's just a facade, it's not really real?
No, because I feel China is a little less safer.
As long as it's under that system, yeah. Like, I would probably go to Taiwan even if it was under China. I do prefer Taiwan as it is right now, though.
I don't think I would like to stay here because of China's behavior in China. If they come here, they'll probably act the same way with censorship.
Well, I was in China before, so I can't really, well, that is part of the reason why we did leave, actually. Probably if that were to happen, I don't even think I'd have a choice to stay here. I think we'd be booted out pretty quickly.
Also, with your upcoming elections, you have to have in mind how your politicians want to handle those kind of situations in case China is putting more pressure on Taiwan.
香港今天游行在抗议那个香港政府要制定那个逃犯条例。
我不知道，我还不晓得。
I think it's very important for the Taiwanese, if I can say as a foreigner, to protect their democracy and really do the right thing in the upcoming election, and also support the Hong Kongers and make sure that the facts are what's reported in Taiwan and not the propaganda.
一国两制下的香港，你有上街抗争打警察的自由，这不叫一国两制的成功，那叫什么呢？
So I think as long as Taiwan stays united, I don't think China can do much about it.
We have to fight first. This kind of party is not suitable for Taiwan.
Well, the older generation I've talked to, they are more buying into China is not so bad, and so what if we sign a peace agreement, and if everyone just acts correctly, you're not going to be in trouble. But I think the younger generation value their freedom more and see that it's not just about being a good citizen, because freedom is very important and you shouldn't have a non-democratic state deciding for you what being a good citizen means.
I've been watching Tai Sounds for the last couple of months with my girlfriend. Every time there's a new episode, we switch it on because I want to see if my classmates are on it. And now it turns out that I'm on it. So check it out and subscribe.
Stay tuned.